It was a tough season, but we got managed to get through the pandemic. How do you think the academy coped over a tough campaign?
The academy, coped really well in terms of just getting through it. Certainly the early stages was very difficult, and I think it's the sort of people behind the scenes that the James Bemments and Jenny Rices and Greg Pillinger just made sure that the environment was safe for everyone to come back. But I think in the early days it was probably a bit harder um, because you were sort of in and out, and guidelines were changing so quickly, and so it was difficult. I think by the end of it, we've probably come through it with flying colours, or as best as we could have done, really. Probably the same as the country has, really, in the end.
Near the end of the season, we kind of started seeing things get back to normal. Some parents were showing up to the games, and things seem to kind of coming back to what we saw before. You're looking forward to next season where we might be able to kind of go back to normal functionality.
Oh no, it'd be great. Just yeah, just the logistical stuff that we've got used to, So it's been difficult, just housing people in changing rooms. You can be in there for 10 minutes. Certain games we've not been able to get changing rooms. You've got to turn up and then sort of get changed in the car park, go back. So that's been difficult. It'd be nice just to, I don't know, just be able to walk around, just walk in dressing rooms, have chats without face masks, and it's not been easy. And I think there's been times as well where we thought, well, what's been the point of some of it, because it's been difficult. But be nice to get back to just straightforward normality, everyone eating together, talking together, doing analysis in the rooms together, rather than just sending it out remotely. And then when we look back, and we've had some end of season reviews, the players have all commented on they've missed a one-to-one interaction that we've not been able to give. So hopefully next year we'll be back to some sort of normality.
On the pitch performances now, what are your reflections of the 18 season, first of all?
Probably a bit similar to all the others. I mean, it starts off and pretty well. We've got some really good early performances, and then, as always happens, the 18s start to go with the 23s. The under-16s start to play in the 18s, and it pretty much with 18s football, we never really get a consistent team. So I think it's a bit of a roller coaster. We've had some really good performances, and then we've had a few head scratches as well, where we thought we may have been better. But I think overall, in terms of what we try to achieve, I think everyone's played the number of minutes. I think the average sort of games for the first years has been around about sort of 35, which is great. And then the second years I played that little bit more, and obviously had exposure to the under-23s. So it's the model that we've got. But the 18s overall, we're pleased with the sort of like the opportunities that all the lads have had, and hopefully they'll benefit from it next year.
As you mentioned there, we saw some new younger lads come in. I believe the first few were kind of Ola Okiowo, Brad Hills, Lewis Shipley. How do you think them lads kind of coped with coming up to that high level of football?
Oh, well, it's really difficult. I mean, to be, for them, because we sort of like, after the first sort of 7 or 8 games, we make it an under-17 team. And with some of the under-18s still playing in it. But generally those lads have been around it for 18 months. And I think with youth football, you can stay in a team for too long, and what we don't want to do is see their performances going backward. So we sort of get to that sort of October, November time, and all the 18s are starting to ask, oh, can I play 23s, which puts a big strain on the first years, which they've come through. So we're hoping that the benefit of having a really tough campaign and playing the football and the coaching and getting used to it will pay dividends for them, like some of the other lads that have got into the first team.
And looking to the higher age group, what are your reflections on the under-23 season? How do you think that's gone?
Well, it probably has the results have gone, really. I think we had a really settled team, really small squad, but a real settled team, and we got through in the EFL trophy, and you could see from the performances the team were pretty high in the league as well. And then the first team sort of went through all the injury crisis that they had, and then 4 or 5 of them went with the first team. And then probably since then, we were probably low on numbers. And then with Andrew leaving and the Josh Martins and sort of those lads moving, and I know that Reece and Tyrese and had got some football and were sort of away with us for 2 or 3 months. So that team suffered a lot and probably never really recovered in terms of results. But If you were to ask us how well that team's done, it's had 3 or 4 debuts, and we've ended up with a centre back playing sort of 7 or 8 games at the end of the season, a team that's won the championship. So it's been a difficult season, a really difficult season in terms of getting players on the pitch and doing that. But in terms of productivity and lads being at the right end of it, it's probably been a season that we would look back on and be very proud of.
And finally, in terms of them player debuts, we saw Tyrese and Matoye kind of mainly go to Swindon as a reward for his hard work. How do you think the loan system has fed for players this season? Is it a good reward for their hard work?
Well, I think, to be fair with loans, is you'd like to think you know exactly, but the problem that you have with any loans is they come towards the end of their academy journey. So you've got to do one of 2 things. You either stay in your 23s and become, which we worry about, a bit stagnant in their performances, is a bit easy, it's not testing. So you've only got 1 or 2 ways. You're either in our first team, or you've got to go and get some football in an environment that you can teach you away from it. And that's the model that we've got. It's not a specific model in terms of this is exactly what we do. I think it's player-led. So we made a decision with sort of Tyrese, for instance, is right, he's been with the first team, done real with the 23s, he's probably gone past it. Right, he's still very, very young, still a 2nd-year apprentice. Sent him out to Swindon. I've just actually spoke to him this morning. Great experience for him, and learnt an awful lot about the game. And hopefully he can come back and continue on his journey. But the loan system is really what it's there to do. Is you're just at your end of your academy journey, and what's next. And if you've not got no first team route, then sometimes we've got to create them opportunities away from the club. So it's sort of like the model that we've worked in the past, and it works for us.